Hey guys, here we go. It's Monday Live again. And here we go. We got some guests here and everything. I mean, Lily's getting in position, laying down, getting ready to listen to the show. She loves this show. So I'm going to start off quickly to go right into some questions that we didn't answer last week. I hope they're here because it's a little early. Should we wait on that or should we do it now, Mina?
For introductions, a new member of the team.
You want to do that now?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to announce who's coming up here?
Yeah. So Sammy would love for you guys to meet a new member of our team.
Yes.
Go ahead, Sam.
And here she comes.
Yay!
And here she is, a new member over here. And she's doing a lot of tech work from us. She's very, very smart. She's at ASU. And what's that?
Go Devils.
Go Devils.
ASU, baby.
Go Devils. All right, I got it. So, she's working with us. She's working part-time because she's in college right now. And her name?
Sterling.
Sterling.
Everybody meet Sterling.
Sterling.
Hi, Sterling.
Sterling's a little gem, and Lily loves her. Lily's looking at me.
Here comes Lily.
Here comes Lily.
So Sterling does our short form content, stuff you guys see on Instagram. She's having a blast working with Sammy, and they really hit it off. And she's very creative, and she will be in the movie making business right after graduation.
Yes.
What a way to start off working with Sammy the Bull.
Right. Right. We got this.
Thank you, Sterling. Here we go.
All right,
Come on, Lily.
great. I mean, she's cute as a button. She has a car, and she has little eyelashes over the light bulbs. My neighbors here says, "Oh, there's a car with eyelashes." I said, "She works for me."
Awesome. All right, I'm going to pass it over to Amina. Welcome everybody to the chat. And Amina, why don't you pick up from last week? Here we go, babe.
Thank you, Anna. Hey, everybody. Hope everybody had a good weekend. We are going to kick off with last week's questions and shout-outs. Are you ready, Sammy?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start off with giving shout-outs to Corey Rowling, Adam Kahn, Frank Logan, Real Mob LCN on location, and Local Enterprise Broadcasting, who said, "You're a fascinating individual. Thank you for sharing your story."
All those names, it sounds like a little gang to me, bro.
Okay. We have Rolo 555. Sammy, what was your favorite vehicle you ever owned?
You know, my first vehicle was a 1963 Chevy Impala Super Sport convertible with all the doodads. You know, you always have to have, it was the first car I ever owned. And I bought it brand new out of a showroom. And my father had a heart attack. Where did you get money to buy this car? It was $3,200 back then. And it was, you know, high end. I saw it, I fell in love with it. It was in the showcase. I took it right out of the showcase. I was wild about that car. And all the little girls driving around with the car. I mean, I love that. There's great memories. But the best car I really ever had, it was a Mercedes. And the reason why, the Germans make great cars, great watches, plain engines. The car, it was great. I mean, I could be doing 60, 65 miles an hour on the highway. I hit the gas a little bit, the car would shoot right out. Make a turn doing 50, 60 miles an hour, it hugged the road. It was a very good driving car, and it was very comfortable. But those two cars were my two favorites. I'm not going to tell you what I have now, but you know, and I'm not easy on cars. I mean, I'm hard on cars. I mean, I don't take care of cars. Some guys are in love with cars. My son is like that. He's in love with the car. He's buffing it all the time. You know, I bought a brand new car. I flicked my ash in the car, and my ex-wife was driving. "What are you doing?" I said, "What?" I flicked my ash. She said, "Inside the car, open the window." I said, "It's okay. I'm going to bring it to the car wash later anyway. Don't worry about it." But if I'm selling my used car, don't listen, you guys, all you guys, don't buy it. let some other sucker buy it. Don't buy it.
Okay, so we have Michael N. Sammy, if Roy DeMeo were alive and well in 1986, would the Castellano hit have gone down? Would he have sided with you and Frankie right away?
It's a tough question, but I will say this. He did not like Paul Castellano. So he might have sided with us, but I don't think we would have trusted him. We knew Nino Gaggi, and we didn't trust him. So I don't know, but they had a good crew, big crew, very dangerous crew. It would have been a hell of a war. But we expected a war anyway. Listen, he's not the only crew. We were thinking the whole Mafia, the Westies, people in Italy, the Italian Mafia. So he would have just been another thorn in our side, a big thorn. But he might have joined us because he really did not like Castellano.
Okay. Steve Jackson. Hey, Sammy, when a made guy gets out on the shelf, what can he do and not do when it comes to mob life?
Well, when he's put on a shelf, he's put on for a reason. He broke certain rules, not enough to kill him, but he maybe disgraced the thing and did certain things. So they put him on a shelf, and everybody knows he's on a shelf. He loses the credibility. You don't treat him as a made guy, a friend of ours. People shun him. They don't abuse him because he'll come off the shelf someday. He loses a lot of privileges and the respect and the backing of the family. And it's disgraceful. So, but no harm will come to him. He's being punished there for a reason. And usually he's pretty lucky because when you break certain rules, you get killed. Depends on the boss. But you got the wrong boss in power, they'll kill you. There's no putting you on the shelf.
AK says, did you respect and love Neil so much that after he refused to kill Paul, were you willing to sacrifice your lives and wait? Were you not afraid that you would be killed during this time? All the best to you, Sammy.
Well, we did risk our lives. We never killed him. We waited until after he died. And we did, if you remember my stories, have a problem that too much time had passed. And me and Frankie bunked in Joe Watts's maid's quarters in his house because we were afraid that too much time passed, it might leak out and we're going to get suckered, we're going to get caught. And so we did hit the mattresses. All of those thoughts came to mind, but under no conditions were we going to kill Neil.
Okay, Larry Lapper asks, which decade was the best decade to be a gangster?
You know, of course I would say in the decade that I grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, for me those were the best. But, I mean, prior to us, when you're going back in the 20s, the roaring 20s and the 30s, they must have been wild fucking times too. I didn't grow up in those times, so I can't comment. Only I saw movies and heard stories and stuff. I know Toto used to tell me about growing up and things he did, and I was fascinated. So, I mean, all the way from the beginning, there's great stories and stuff. And then I heard Michael Franchi say this, that the Mafia got crippled with the RICO laws and all the laws that they invented for the Mafia. And it started falling apart. Guys started flipping like pancakes. I mean, there's hundreds of guys who cooperated. Even now, you look at YouTube, there's 10, 15 guys talking on, and they all flipped. So you could see the Mafia deteriorated. I think it really started to deteriorate in the 90s when me and John went away. 91, 92, there was a war going on with the Colombo family, and it really deteriorated, and guys were flipping like crazy. Guys were getting pinched, and it just never stopped. You know, in certain states, it disappeared completely. Up in Canada, there was, you know, bootleggers and all kinds of people. And I think it came down to now, when you watch some of the movies and some of the stories, that in Canada, They hang out, black gangs, Puerto Rican gangs, the Mafia, all hooked together. I mean, we had respect for different, you know, gangs and races and everybody else, but we were never hooked in like they are now. So it's a different time. You know, time changes everything. It's changing our country, how we lived. I can't believe how some things are going on today. I mean, if you would have told me this 5, 6, 7 years ago, I wouldn't believe it, let alone 10, 20, 30 years ago. It's a different world. Everything changes, and the Mafia is no different. It's changed quite a bit. There's guys who cooperated walking all over the place in New York and New Jersey, all around the streets. I mean, years ago, in my era, you could never cooperate and walk in the neighborhood. You would have got killed in 2 minutes. But they've changed. And in a way, it's for the better. You know, killing isn't an important thing. It is in a way, and it's not. You know, it's like saying in the military, they stopped killing. Well, how did they fight wars? How did they do anything if they stopped killing? So the same thing when you have guys and you're not killing. We're not killing innocent people, we're killing each other. But if you don't do that, how do you control them? How do you control somebody like me when I was younger? If I had no threat of being killed, the rules wouldn't mean nothing no more. So the killing part kept it together. And you got to remember, this thing is anywhere between 800 and 1,000 years old. So it served its purpose, it changed, and now, in this day and age, going forward, I mean, the way the kids are today, men are wearing dresses, everybody's woke. I don't know, it's a different era, different time. You know, men aren't what they were, and I'm not saying there's a lot of men who are men, but most of them are working men and they're having a tough time in their lives as well. Different time.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to butcher this next name. So, Mario Pinovic?
She's stretching her neck. Pinovic?
Wait, hold on. Did you ever hear from Don Boško Radonjic, known as Yugo from formed Yugoslavia? Thank you and much respect from Balkan.
He was a very, very good friend of mine. We called him Bosco. He took over the Westies. He wasn't, it's the Irish mob. He wasn't Irish, he was Yugoslavian or something like that. He's the guy who fixed the Gotti trial with me and Bosco. He left the country, came back in, he got caught. The government wanted me to testify against him. I refused. This is when I got pinched in Arizona and I was doing a 20-year bit. I refused. They held him 5 months. I was the only guy who could put him in prison. They had to let him go. And he went back to Yugoslavia. They wanted to have him pinched because they wanted him to flip so they could use him in a trial against Milosevic, a world trial. And he was Milosevic's right-hand man, whacking guys left and right. There's a guy wrote a book, a magazine writer, saw him there and did an interview with him. And in the interview, and it's right in the magazine, he said, "I love Sammy." He says, "I know." He refused, and they kept me 5 months, and I love him because they couldn't do anything without him. He never budged, and he had a 20-year sentence. He could have saved time, but. So yeah, I knew him very, very well. Tough guy, a little crazy, not like us. One day he pulled up in front of John Gotti's club down in Mulberry Street. He had a limousine, and he called me over. He said, "Sammy, I got a gift for you and for John." And so I said, "Okay, you could give it to me." He says, "Come here near the car." When he opened the door, there was a couple of beautiful young girls in there, hookers, snorting coke, and I closed the door real quick. I said, "Bosco, are you fucking crazy? I mean, get the fuck out of it with these girls. There's FBI watching us right now as I speak. There's news people all over the place. You think John's gonna come out here and snort coke with these girls? Are you crazy, bro?" I'm not even going to tell him that you even wanted to do that. It's crazy, bro. And I'm looking around because I was afraid that they would come down by the car, and I'm the guy who's standing looking at the car. I don't want to get caught like that. So I knew him real good. He was a little crazy, real tough guy, real tough guy. And that's about it.
Okay.
And he died, by the way. I got word he died quite a while ago, a couple of years ago.
Okay. BK Bully 78. Do you remember DeMeo's crew? Center, Testa, Rosenberg?
Yeah. Center and the other one, what's his name again? Testa. They called them the twins. They were just as dangerous as Roy DeMeo. I think they're both still alive. They both have life sentences. They'll never get out. And the guy Rosenberg was a Jew. He had him close to him. Very dangerous kid, too. What he did, he robbed a bunch of Colombians. And he shot them and killed them. It almost started a war between the Colombians. Nino Gaggi sent word to Roy, the kid has got to go, what he did, or otherwise there'll be a war between the Colombians and us. Roy killed him. It literally broke Roy's. Roy had him like his adopted kid, but he had to kill him. He did kill him, and it changed Roy a little bit. Roy got a little more nasty than his normal nastiness. And then there was a whole bunch of other guys. Dirty Ralphie was a biker, and there was a bunch of other guys. A gay guy who was with him, who was really dangerous too. And so there was a whole crew of them.
Okay, just a couple more, Sammy. The check-in report wants to know, was Gotti or Paul a better boss, in your opinion?
Gotti or Paul? Mm-hmm. They both had their faults. But as it turned out, Paul wound up being a better boss. Because Gotti, that flashiness and everything, it's history now. It's in history books. It's all over the place. All the bosses hated him. He did more damage to the Mafia than 15 guys who cooperated put together. I mean, it really brought a lot of heat to everybody. I did an interview with Anthony Reggiano, Fat Andy's son, and he talks about it. He was on that side. I mean, Fat Andy and Tony Lee were in conversations which I didn't know until I talked with Anthony. They wanted him, to take him down as the boss. He did another thing or two that they were saying, if this was years ago, he should be dead for what he did. He had an affair with somebody he shouldn't have had. But I think, all in all, Paul was actually probably a better boss.
Great. We have Ashik Karakanian. Do you know the current Gambino administration? What do you think they understand your situation with John is? And do they understand Wild situation? Okay, Ashik, I need clarification on those questions. But you can answer the first part.
What's the first part?
Do you know the current Gambino administration?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Jack Ruby. Sammy, did you know Sal Bergoglio or Tony Provenzo?
I need a little bit more. I need to know what crews they were with family. Did they have a nickname? Listen, I knew a ton of everybody. Everybody had a nickname, so I knew people by a nickname, maybe not their real name. So I might know them, I might not. But right now, their name itself doesn't ring a bell. But if you have a nickname and who they were with, it may refresh, who it was.
Okay. Last question, J Dragon 2. Is there any celebrity you would want to meet that you haven't met? Who would it be and why?
A celebrity.
I would assume it could be past or present.
I don't know. I mean, as far as men, I really don't know. There's a lot of guys that I like, But as far as women, Margot Robbie, I would love to meet her. She's gorgeous. She's beautiful. I mean, so I would love her. And she's cute as a button. I love when she did that in the movie when she's talking to somebody and the guy, which,
Wolf of Wall Street.
yeah, Wolf of Wall Street, and they go back and forth, and he wants to be friends, and she looks at him and says, "We're going to be friends?" And he says, "Yeah, I'm married, but we could be friends." And she looks at him with that look and says, "We're not going to be friends," meaning they're going to be real close. So I like Margot Robbie.
All right, that's it for last week's questions and shout outs. Anna, passing it over to you, doll.
Thank you, Amina. I see you guys with the glitch going on with our internet. We're just going to keep the show rolling because the show must go on. The glitch is not too horribly bad. And Sammy's a great storyteller, as you guys know. So
What's the glitch?
we're tap dancing our way through the Monday Live, baby.
Yes.
It's just a little glitch. Remember that old Pepsi commercial where the guy comes on screen, that little machine guy?
Yeah,
A little bit like, we're in the Matrix, Sam.
All right, all
We're on the
right.
interwebs. These
right.
things happen, right,
All
guys?
right.
Thanks for your patience, though. I got a super chat from a gentleman by the name of John, and he is asking, were you ever involved in the trucking union, and what's your opinion on the industry now?
I was never involved in a trucking union. I think they lost control of it, with the Jimmy Hoffa thing right after Jimmy Hoffa was killed. Actually, before, when he was arrested, it fell apart. But when he was dead, I think the whole thing was over. I don't know if they control it now. They did control it with an iron hand when Jimmy Hoffa was alive. But when he went away, they lost control of it a little bit. When they killed Hoffa, they really lost control of it.
Nice. Thank you, Sammy. William, speaking of the cars, Sammy, that you love, did you ever drive a motorcycle?
I was on a motorcycle. I thought about it as a kid. My mother and father didn't want me to have a motorcycle, and I wanted one. And driving home one day, there was an accident. A guy on a motorcycle. We stopped the car. Everything was stopped. I got out. I went there. The guy was laying on the floor moaning. One leg was way somewhere else. His leg was literally tore off. When I got back in the car with my mother and father, I said, "Ma, don't worry about it. I'm not going to drive a motorcycle. Fuck this. I like my legs." And
I need that leg.
yeah, I need that leg.
Okay. Anne Marshall sends her love from Scotland.
Whoa, love you too. And Scotland, what a place. I love that movie they did about, who was in that, where the people in Scotland were rebelling. Braveheart.
Sterling for 500.
Braveheart.
Alex.
Braveheart. She's that's Smiley. She's going to get a raise. But Braveheart, I mean, great movie. The people in Scotland. I love that movie. I watched it twice. I may have watched it 3 times. And great to hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sammy. Let's see. Jason G. Thank you for all you do, Sammy. Love your work. And did John Gotti fear anyone?
I don't think he had an actual fear of them. He was pretty fearless. He was a tough guy. John Gotti was no punk, that's for sure. I don't think he feared anyone, but he didn't underestimate people's powers. The only time, not fear, I'm not going to call it fear, he was super uncomfortable. Paul Castellano gave him the Roy DeMeo hit. And he really didn't like the idea of it. And Paul recognized it and pulled it away and gave it to Frankie DeChico. And Frankie DeChico called me up. He says, "Hey, Sammy, what's up, bro?" He says, "I have Roy's ticket," meaning he had the contract. I went to Bath Avenue right away, went and see him. So I said, "You need help, bro? I mean, this is a tough crew." And he said, "Nah, I got it." His 2 guys, the guys you mentioned before, the twins, Frankie talked with them, told them if they kill Roy, the contract on them will be squashed. And they did kill him. His own guys killed him. Put him in the trunk of a car. And then they were still with us. We gave them to Gas Pipe and Vic. We transferred them. They wanted to go there. He wanted them. He was a sicko too, so we got rid of them.
Nice. Thank you. Ruben Mendoza wants to know if you have any stories about the Mexican Mafia.
I got so many stories about the Mexican Mafia that I forget about it. I mean, the first time when I got out of prison and I went to Arizona, there's a whole story. It's a long story. I moved into an apartment, and right next door to me, it was in a not that great of a neighborhood, and right next door there was a leader of a Mexican gang, and they had the alleyway at night. They had their guys staked out. They were dealing drugs. It was their spot. I was moving in, and there was a shooting. I was armed. I got my gun. I heard the shots. I looked out the back door, and they were chasing a black guy, shooting at him. They missed him. They didn't hit him, but he took off. And I saw the whole thing. The next day, the cops came, and I was still moving in. They came to me, unbeknownst to him. He was right next door. He was listening to the whole thing. The cops said, yesterday there was a shooting. You were moving in. Did you see anything? I said, no. I said, maybe when I was going somewhere, because I didn't hear no shots, there was no shooting. Not that I know of. And they left, the cops. And he grabbed me a day after that, and he says, I heard what you said, he says, and I know you saw the whole thing. So I appreciate that. We came a little friendly, invited me over his house with his parents and people, and Mexicans have united family things. So I went to a store with my ex-wife. I bought Italian sausage and a few things to bring it there. I felt pretty safe. There was women, children, so I felt safe. And I went, I met them all. And from that point, all of his guys, I would come home in that parking lot, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. There was guys, guards, they stood and watched the spot, and they would tap their chest while I was passing. So I knew them all. And one day, they knew who I was, got to know me, and he told me, he said, Sammy, anybody comes looking for you and they come in this alleyway, they'll never go out. We even, like undercover cops come in, we harass them so bad they show their shields, they're scared. It's either you're buying drugs or you're here to rob us. That's what that day, when the shooting, that guy was here to rob us, bro. And we don't go easy on it. You know, we make examples of, so anybody comes looking for you and they're not looking to buy drugs, they're in trouble. So I felt good in that spot, and I got to know them real well. They appreciated it. I brought them sausages and stuff like that. They liked that. I think I brought them some wine as well. They probably didn't drink the wine. They're drinking tequila and all kinds of bullshit, but I didn't know the difference.
They probably made sangria.
Yeah, whatever they do with it. So yeah, and in prison I knew a lot of Mexican guys. Our Familia, I was close with Our Familia. That's a tough Mexican. They're a little tougher than the Mexican Mafia. So there's different versions of different Mexican things. There's the Watertown Boys. There's guys who they recognize are born and raised in Mexico and come in. There's Mexicans that are born and raised here. Sometimes they argue with each other. They argue, they fight. But when there's a problem in prison, boom, they all stick together. And you know, at one time in prison, the blacks outnumbered the whites, the Hispanic people. And so if there was a racial thing, the whites and the Mexicans, the Hispanics, stood together against the blacks, so to make the numbers fairly even. So yeah, I had a lot of good relationships with a lot of them.
Nice. Is MS-13 more dangerous than the Familia?
No. MS-13, I did time with a gang of them too. They do really stupid, fucked up crimes. They'll rob a kid for a bike and they'll shoot him and kill him. I mean, they do horrendous shit. The Mexican Mafia and our familia, they'll kill you, but for their reasons, drugs, stops, this, that, but they don't go out killing people for stupid fucking crimes. You know, it's like I did a time with a guy who shot and killed somebody in a bodega. So, and the guy, I knew the story, I read the whole story, I talked to him, and I was talking to him, I said, listen, when you went in, you pulled the gun on the guy, you told him you wanted the money, you opened up the registry, gave you the money, and then you shot him. Why the fuck did you shoot him? He gave you the money. He said, Sammy, they could, you know, be a witness. Then why did you wear a mask? You don't have to. So you're going in there shooting him no matter what the fuck he did. Whether he gave you the money, he didn't give you the money. Those crimes to me is insanity. That's not a crime or a tough guy. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, and now they're fighting back. Now the owners are really fighting back against.
Yeah, well, they got to go because you do that. You're going in there and it's not enough. You give them the money. You're going in there without a mask. So the owners now, they got their own guns and shit under the counter, and they're going to fight back. What do you expect them to do? Right. I mean.
Yeah. So we have a very generous envelope from American Fatherhood. He was here last week, Sam. Great questions. He's asking, when you were in the hole for years, what was your routine like to keep your sanity? And was the Mafia ever in competition with any other secret societies, or were there any other secret societies that had power like the Mafia? For example, the Illuminati. God bless you and your family.
Thank you so much. You know, I was in the hole 6.5 years. To try and keep your sanity, it's a hard thing. But I always had it in my head. They got me in here to break me, to want me to fall apart. They want to break me. That gave me strength. You know, I always have, there's a saying, when the times get tough for a tough guy, he gets tougher. For a weak person and it gets tough, they get weaker. I'm tough. You're not going to break me, especially when I know you're trying to break me. I won't break. So I worked out. I did meditation. All kinds of stupid things to keep my sanity. I played chess with some AB guys through the wall. Went out on my little 1-hour visits outside to the yard, and that wasn't a constant. It's hard. It is hard. I'm going to say the truth. It almost broke. I got sick. I lost my hair. This, that. I almost lost it once or twice, I guess. The loneliness of being alone in a hole for such a long period of time, it's hard to explain what it's like. I tell a lot of people, ask me that question, I say, I'll go home. You got a nice bedroom? Go in your bedroom, close the door, let somebody slide the food in under the thing, and stay in there for 6 weeks. Not 6.5 years, 6 weeks. See how it is. You'll go fucking crazy. It's not easy to do, even if you have luxuries around you. So without the luxuries, without anything, it was a big metal thing. That was your shower. So you got up, you showered in the room, shit in the room, ate in the room. You never went out. Day and night, day after day. Guards, you only saw guards coming in and out, sometimes a nurse or two who had a kind heart or a kind word. And I hung on to those things. I waited for that nurse to come back. Had nothing to do with her looks or sexual or anything like that. I just wanted somebody to talk to. It was extremely hard. So it's not easy. But one thing I learned is that we humans, we could tolerate, we don't believe how much we could actually tolerate. There's people who were left on islands and stayed there for years and tolerated it and had nothing. They managed and they found their way out. You know, it's almost similar to that. unless you're under that situation, it's hard to comprehend how you would react. But we, as humans, could endure a lot more than you think.
You know, and I keep going back to the interview with Warden Hood because it is so just profound, the level of resilience that you guys were both talking about that you had. And I mean, I think everything that you're saying is proven just recently with the COVID lockdowns and how the rate of suicides and mental illness just shot up because people couldn't leave their homes and they were just deteriorating. So, you know, that was a great question, Fatherhood, and Warden Hood.
Yeah, and that's a good answer with Warden Hood. He retired, we became friends. He loved the way I conducted myself. And we did, it's going to be a 3-part series, I believe. And it's coming out in
this month.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be out every week for 3 weeks. Yeah. And you're going to hear all about him, how he treated people, how it was. And he was a compassionate man. I don't want to give away the interview, but he was a compassionate man. You know, he had a job to do, he did it, but he never tried to hurt you or make it worse. He realized how much pressure these guys were in, and he tried to make it a little bit easier for people.
Absolutely.
He was a good man.
Absolutely. And
I'm glad to call him my friend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you guys, your viewers are going to hear some of the most high-profile names in the ADX that have been gone.
He had them all. They were, you know, and when you're the warden of the, you know, wardens are all over the country, federal, state. When you're the warden of the ADX, it's the most powerful, toughest prison in the country. You're the biggest warden in the country, politically. You're the heavyweight. You're the warden's warden. And he knew that, you know, going in, and you're going to love this interview I had with him. And like I said, it's a 3-part interview, and real good guy.
Yeah. You know what I love about your viewers and your supporters, Sammy, is we've been glitching, like amazing, great glitches, but your super chats are blowing up. So even though they were having technical difficulties, stand by. We're getting super chat after super chat from your people.
Yeah, they're great. They are great. I mean, I could have pneumonia. I'm going to sit here and do it. Because I mean it. They're really great people. I enjoy this. I enjoy the comments, and I read a lot of the comments later, and you know, answering them. It's a pleasure, and I know they interact with one another, which is really nice too. So
Francisco, one of your loyal people. Yes, glitches indeed, but still here. That's
what kind of glitches?
Just like it'll just.
You look like a robot.
Like a little.
That.
Yeah, just Elgato in the super chats. Hey Elgato, we're gonna get to your question. Don't worry. Andrea Doria, I can't wait for the ADX trilogy. Yep, good stuff. All right, Vincent, your super chat. Hi, Sammy. I wanted to know what was the reason why Shorty Spiro was killed, and how did the Colombo family take it afterwards?
Well, the reason he was killed is that Ralph Spiro, his brother, I had trouble with him. I was transferred because of his brother to the Gambino family. He did a deal. He was a swindler. He did a deal with Jerry Papa. Jerry Papa was a maid guy in the Genovese family. He tried to swindle Jerry Papa. Jerry Papa went to the house, same house that I went to, but he tried to run, and he went under a car. And Jerry Papa and one of the guys had a shotgun, stuck it under the car, pulled the trigger, killed him underneath the car. And there was a major, Shorty Spiro went wild. He was trying to find out who it was. All of this stuff was going on. I mean, he was super fucking mad. Now, first people he called me. I went down, I talked with him because I had that beef. He said, Sammy, please don't tell me it was you. I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I gave you my word I wouldn't hurt him. That's not me. And you know, some of the people saw what one of the guys looked like, and didn't look anything like me. So I said, any help I could give you, Shorty, me and you were tight. And any help I could give you with this, I will. But I didn't hear nothing. I didn't know what was going on. A guy named Joey Mazzoni came to my house after that. And he was Shorty's brother-in-law. Now, Shorty was looking at everything. Papa started getting a little nervous. And he told Joey Mazzoni to tell Shorty Papa knew who did what. So Shorty went to go see Papa. Papa killed him. And where Papa was with one of his guys, the basement was broken up. They dug a hole, put him in the hole, cemented it over. And so now both of them were missing. Well, Ralph was found. Shorty was missing. Joey Mazzoni came to my house, and he was nervous. And he said, Sammy, can I talk to you? And I knew that Shorty was missing, obviously dead. And I said, what's up? What's your problem? He said, I set up Shorty. I love Shorty. I said, you set up Shorty? He's your brother-in-law. He said, yeah. I was with Papa, and I told him the story and got him there, and they killed him. I need your help. They're breathing down my neck. His nephews and people and the Colombos. You need my help. I said, bro, I'm going to get up. I'm going to go in my bedroom. When I come out, I'm going to have a gun in my hand. If you're not out of my fucking house, I'm going to kill you right in my fucking house. He left. Now, I had a long time friendship with him. He left. A short time after that, he was killed. They put two and two together, and some of Shorty's family got him, killed him. So the Colombo family reacted to that real hard. Papa made a lot of, they was doing off-the-record hits. Shorty was a made guy in the Colombo family. He's a made guy in the Genovese family. These are sick moves. So I think that he was a major drug dealer. Papa Chin was very annoyed with him. A few other threats that he had made and did, Chin had him killed. His partner who was there flipped and became a rat. And when he flipped, he told where Shorty was buried. The police went in, broke up the concrete, dug the hole, and Shorty's body was, his bones were under there. So that's the story really with what happened with Shorty and Ralph Spiro and Joey Mazzoni and me. If I had time, I'd say it a little slower and a little more, putting things together. But I wanted to get it so you guys could hear it and know it. Great question.
Yeah, that was really good. Thank you, Sammy. Mikey Irish, did John Gotti feel the same way about Frankie DeChico as you did? Did he respect him? And was Frankie as respected as John on the street?
You know, I say this a lot of times. Frankie was more respected. Frankie's whole family was in the Mafia. All of them were heavyweights. He's well liked by everybody, every family. Frankie was a true tough guy, and he was for the underdog all the time. If you were an underdog, he was there to help you and do things. He was loved. I said it a couple of times. I'm going to say it again. John had a tough crew. So did I. put John's crew and my crew together, we were in a pimple on Frankie the Chico's ass. And I say that with affection, not trying to be a smart guy or anything like that, but I say it with love and affection. He was the real deal, good guy. I'm not saying that other guys weren't the real deal, but Frankie, to me, was my man. He was like my older brother. I think he was 14 years older than me, something like that. And as far back as I can remember, he was like a big brother to me. Every time I had a problem and I turned 2 inches, I would bunk into him. He was there. So.
Can you say that it just reminded me of Goodfellas when you said that. As long as I could remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Yeah.
Can you give us the line, Sammy?
Well, for as long as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Yes! That was awesome. Thank you. You know, speaking of movies and somebody look like me, somebody kind of looks like me, Redman from ourthing.tv platform. Sammy, this isn't necessarily a question, more of a suggestion as for who would play you in a movie or TV series. For me, there's one actor that comes to mind. He actually looks like you when you were younger, and he's no stranger to starring in gangster movies. His name is Damon Chapa, and he's Italian and Mexican descent. His greatest role was in the movie Blood In, Blood Out as Miklo. I'm sure Anna knows this movie. Take a look at him and his demeanor and tell me what you guys think. Take care.
That's him? Oh, he's a good-looking dude. Yeah, he looks like me. What's the movie, Blood In and Blood Out?
Mm-hmm. Blood In and Blood Out.
I don't know. You know, I'll watch the movie. I'll take a peek. I'll watch the movie and see, you know, how he acts and how he sounds, and I'll take a look at him. Because I am looking at people in different situations. I'm not going to go into my contracts, what's going on. The strike is almost over. The writers are done. The directors are done. We're waiting on the actors and actresses to get done. But he looks pretty good to me.
Yeah.
It's hard to look at him because she's holding his hand up and she's gorgeous. I can't. I'm looking at him. I'm looking at her. I say, oh, he's really good looking. I was looking at her. All right. No, he's a good looking dude, and I think I'm a little better looking than him. I'll tell you the truth.
For sure.
For sure.
For sure. See, Colonel. Let's see.
I'll check it out, but.
Yeah. So we got about 10 minutes left, Sammy. I'm going to hit some more of these super chats and, you know, see how this stream comes out. If we put it up, we put it up. If we use our local record, maybe we'll do that. And guys, if any of these super chats got glitched out, we'll just have a longer stream next week and get to all you guys. So don't worry. Vincent, hey, Sammy, do you think that your parents really knew that you were in the life and just didn't say anything? Or did they think you were legit?
No, they never thought I was legit. I mean, I was just a bad boy. My father and my mother just understood it.
Baby.
Yeah,
Mom
but
knows.
they loved me, and I don't think they knew. You know, they knew I became a little more important. They saw respect, people around me. You know, and my father and mother knew about the Mafia. They're from they're old school. They knew them. They weren't involved with them. Actually, I'm finding out now, my father's brother, Alfonso Gravano, was in the Sicilian Mafia, and he was part of
Sunset Fleets.
the Sunset Fleet,
Yep.
who made booze in Canada and smuggled it into the country. It's a whole story. I just found some of these things out. I always saw him come in from Italy, would stay with my father. He was my father's oldest brother, and he would stay with me. He was my uncle, but I was a kid. I just knew he was a greaseball coming off the boat from there. But then my father, his gumbara, Suvido, I found out later when I was a teenager, really, that he was a made guy in the Mafia. And now I'm finding out that Suvido and my uncle, Alfonso Gravano, and my father came from the same towns in Italy and stuff like that. So, you know, as I'm going by, I'm rewriting my podcast. I'm making a remake with James Carroll. I'm working on it. You know, when I did the first podcast podcast, it was 3 years ago in August. It was 3 years. In this 3 years, there's so many things that hit me, and I know. I'll give you an example. When I did the story, I would get messages from people and say, don't you remember? And they would tell me what they remembered, whether it was a woman or a guy, or tell me a place. I talked to you guys, and I was saying when Sinatra came in, he would come to a place. And I couldn't remember the name. Now, somebody who watched the tape, a woman says, Sammy, you don't remember? The name of the place was Jilly's. So I'm getting stuff like that. Now, while I'm saying that, I'm going to ask you guys for a favor. Anybody who knew me or knew anything about me or whatever, send me anything you know. I'm rewriting the podcast. I'm making a remake. So anything you have, I would like to know, because I like to know facts. I like to know things. Like, I forgot that I sponsored a women's baseball team when I was in the Rampants back then from Tallies. And I was a maid guy. And I forgot all about it. And a woman told me. She's older now, of course. And I said, no, I don't remember. And then I started to remember a little bit. And then she sent me a picture of all the girls on the team with the Tally T-shirts. And that really made me remember. So anything that you know, if I met you or somebody in your family I knew, if you hear any stories or anything like that, don't even hesitate. Send it to me, and it may be in my remake, and I'm investigating like crazy. I also did an interview with Anthony Ruggieriana, and you know, he knew the other side. So I'm hearing stories with him back and forth, and I'm putting things together. So I think my remake is going to be 10 times better than the other one. The only thing is it won't have video. It's just going to be, I think, audio. But, and I think it's going to be 10 times better. There's so many things I found out now about my Tato that are just mind-blowing. All kinds of different things. And things that he talked to me about, I realize now that the thing with Kennedy, I'm not going to get too deep into this, but the thing with President Kennedy, Sam Giancana was involved, Trafficante from Florida was involved, Carlos Masalo from Louisiana was involved, and they all asked Carlo Gambino for their blessing in this thing. And who was Carlo Gambino's right-hand man? My Tato. So when we talked about those things, I thought it was just talking about what was in the newspaper or hearsay, but it wasn't. Tato was talking out of knowledge. He knew what the fuck was going on. So a lot of this remake is going to be so much better than the original one, because I just have so much more knowledge through the time, and so many people like you guys who would send me something. Sammy, the name of that place was Jilly's. Yeah, okay. Or tell me something, and right, they're right. So you guys know a lot of things. And, you know, I'm trying to remember when I do these stories, I'm trying to remember 50 years ago. Yeah. I don't remember what I ate for breakfast. Yeah. But I do have a good long-term memory. But there's always something you're going to forget, or you're going to talk about it. I got people with cameras and this and that and sound equipment, James Carroll talking to me. So when I tell a story, I might miss a date, what time, what month, I could be wrong somewhere. Then I got a bunch of fucking guys are watching every fucking word I say. Everything I say, you know, if I make a 3-day mistake, they're calling me a liar. He's lying. I could show you in another book. He didn't say it in his book. Obsessed. You know, so I'm trying to be careful and do everything the right way, with facts. And I'm trying to get facts as much as I can. When I did it the first time, I just shot from the hip, so to speak. Sure. I did a lot of talking and recording. And so if you've got anything and you want to send it to me, it's easy to, my address, you could send it, and I would appreciate it.
Awesome. All right, Sammy, we're going to wrap her up. I want to check the footage because I was
So
thinking like
do
that.
I go like this?
Yeah, you were glitching, like do the
Am
robot, Sammy.
Am I glitching now?
Click. Yeah. So, you know, we have a local feed, so we'll use what we got. We'll recover. We will rebuild.
Yes,
I
yes.
think you'll be all right.
We'll be all right.
Your viewers love you.
All right.
So.
All right, listen, all right, guys, my favorite ending. Adios, motherfuckers.